Так, всем привет. Продолжаем проходить за консул. Сейчас нам надо будет подняться к Мортимеру. Что тут вниз нельзя спуститься? А ну, ты был? Да, был. Значит, поднимаемся к нему и говорим, как наше расследование закончилось. То нам рано еще что-то говорить. Подозреваемый есть, это как раз этот Джек Пиру, но обвинить мы его пока не можем. На стопроцентных доказательств нет. Но мы точно знаем, что он был на убийстве вот этой Элизабет. Во всяком случае, ходил там точно. Может быть, спасал, может быть, и был причастен к убийству. Это я не той тропой, наверное, побежал. Долго бегу. Вон, лестница.
I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
Will you remind me of the facts we already know about?
Elizabeth Adams was killed last night, but Piaggi was with Holm and I until late at night. As for Bonaparte and Washington, they left us after midnight, both tired.
То есть мне все равно один вариант нажим. Я не знаю. Ну
I
давай.
believe I've identified the murderer.
Really, Louis? All right then. Please think carefully before you give me your answer. This is a very,
Я и
very
так это знаю.
serious accusation.
Интересно. Не могу, конечно, сразу. Я не могу его обвинить. И неизвестно, кто еще точно сделал. Наверное, женщина. Потому что нож держала женская рука. Блин. А вот про эти Эмили я не могу сказать. Эмили не было. Про сестру, которая пропала, неизвестно. И мать его я тоже не знаю. И как мне обвинить? Он был на месте преступления. Блин, ну там женщина точно была, просто рукой была женской. Только вот мать это его или сестра Эмили, вот это 100% не знаю. Ну, попробовать мать. Про Эмили я ничего не знаю, поэтому неизвестно. А вот мать.
From what I've found out, I believe that my mother is the culprit. Even though I find it hard to accept.
Sarah? But why her?
I found a piece of fabric that appears to have belonged to her and proves she was present at the scene of the crime.
Interesting. Anything else?
Ну да, вот
I
это.
found out that there was a long history between Elizabeth and my mother. She had been her personal doctor and had tortured her throughout her childhood.
And so she could have tried to silence Elizabeth so the truth wouldn't get out and damage her reputation. It's possible. Have you anything else?
I think that there's more than enough evidence here.
Indeed, it's very worrying. Everything seems to indicate that your mother is responsible for Elizabeth's murder. Given the distinguished guests and the political issues involved at the conference, I trust you'll leave me to conclude the case in my own way.
Now that we've examined the question from all sides, maybe you could explain to me why you asked me here, my lord.
Right. It's time we spoke about your mother, Louis.
Ну, судя по всему, что она не пропала. Меня ж, правда, позвали сюда, потому что она пропала.
She isn't missing, you know.
What? What do you mean?
My mother has left traces in every nook and cranny of your island, my lord. She's definitely here. Now, what worries me most is why she doesn't show herself.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the canon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me. Isn't Bonaparte a bit young to deserve so much attention?
Well, you come straight to the point. I like that. Indeed, if you knew just how much you remind me of him. Trust me, I'll wager that Monsieur Napoleon will soon prove himself. I'm working on it, at least. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play. And I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Ah, thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
А вот это я не знаю, стоит ли говорить про это. Я думаю, лучше это утаить пока. А вдруг, наоборот, это раскроется и поможет найти маму. Ну давай.
She was looking for someone.
What do you mean?
In Paris, we were working on a smuggling case to do with occult objects. We had just arrested a dealer who intended to go to you to meet a buyer. My mother was here to find out to whom he intended to sell his stolen treasure.
Oh. What was the name of your dealer?
The dealer was called von Burchard. As for the buyer, he was unknown to us.
No, I don't know anything about that. There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Может быть, и обнаружила. Ну, давай.
Maybe she found something out.
What do you mean?
My mother has a gift for investigating. If she had picked up a lead, nothing would have stopped her.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
Я думаю, тут ничего такого интересного не будет. Да, вот это.
Tell me about her disappearance.
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hill's
А, так это все-таки было уже.
and she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on.
That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation. Until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
One last thing, although I don't know if there is a connection.
I'm listening.
A gate was forced the other night near the wharf. Nothing serious, just a few small things damaged.
Давай извинюсь.
Sorry, my lord, but I was searching for leads to my mother. I thought I was hot on her trail and didn't take any precautions.
Well, you could have reported it to a servant. But never mind. I shall put it down to your ardor and anxiety. However, please try to respect my estate in future.
I certainly will. Please accept my sincerest apologies.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Отлично. Сейчас я
Thank
смотрю.
you. The room is just opposite Mortimer's study. Great. Honey, there are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays.
What is this disc? Oh, that reminds me of the ones my mother collects. It's magnetic. St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior.
Что еще? Другую комнатку, наверное, могу
A drachma. The door appears to be locked on the other side.
с другой стороны. А, так это значит в этой комнате? Мечник, мечник, мечник. Да что-то с этим сделать. Даже больше ничего нет. Даже у меня есть магнитный диск. Может он что-то сделает? Это, наверное, вряд ли. Тут больше ни с чем нельзя вообще контактировать. Так. Кому? Так. Не знаю, ладно. Наверное, здесь я ничего не смогу сделать. Надо пойти в другое место сейчас.
The door appears to be locked on the other side. I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound, like a key falling to the floor. We'll see if it works. It's open. St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. I don't know, what does that mean? So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with a figure, maybe? Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the Apostles by Guido Reni. Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. Looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
Хорошо. Но, к сожалению, не могу.
It's St. John, painted by Guido Rini.
Эх, эрудицию качать бы надо.
The New Testament.
Ёлки-пал. О, 11? А, вот цифра 11, ну-ка.
Then they suborned men, which said, "We have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and against God."
А ну, может, еще где-то есть что-то про 11? Ну, походу, я угадал с первого раза, что нужно читать.
And it came to pass the day after that he went into a city called Nain, and many of his disciples went with him, and much people.
Ой, да, это. Я его... этого я смотрел, вот это я смотрел, вот это.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Oh, wait, a note from Mother is carefully folded between the pages here. What does it say?
Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the two groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package. You know where, and hide it where no one will find it. It's imperative. Awaiting your reply, hidden behind the youngest apostle.
What? The youngest apostle? What does Mother mean by that?
Главное, что нашел, вот где цифра 11 была как раз.
A drawing of the Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Rini. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel.
There's something else behind this painting.
It says, half of each group will join the first city of Corinth.
What the hell does that mean?
A chest with the occult symbol representing air.
Amber crystals. St. John is the only apostle painted in this gallery who hasn't got a beard. Hey, wait! That means it's him. He's the youngest apostle. Right. This painting is therefore associated with the answer which E had to give to my mother. Now, I just need to know
how to recover the answer. The painting looks like it's been taken down recently. What was it my mother said? That she would wait for an answer hidden behind the apostle. Ah, of course. There's something written behind the painting. On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add 1 companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean? They should add a companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their ranks. I imagine it applies to their code, the one Mother set up with the pilgrims. What's this? A group of pilgrims who Paul was talking to, and now John is telling them prophecies? There's something else behind this painting. It says, half of each group will join the first city of Corinth. What the hell does that mean?
Вот. А, первая. О.
Now, therefore, there is utterly a fault among you, because ye go to law with one another. Why do ye not rather suffer injustice? Why do ye not rather suffer yourselves to be defrauded? Ah, look, here's a message. It is of paramount importance that no one finds it. Watch out for the Prussian. He's on the trail. Let's meet up. I'll leave it to you to organize the rendezvous. Not today. I'm unable to do it. In the meantime, I'll follow the first group to Mark, who will reveal the answer to them. And that first group of pilgrims, how many are there now? If I refer to the chapter I'm reading at the moment, 6.
Так, там что-то было 1 слева и 3 справа. Ну давай, ладно, попробуй вот это еще посмотреть. Мало ли тут что-то появилось.
There's nothing worth noticing here.
Ничего. Алло.
Little characters are engraved on the chest of drawers under the urn. It's a sentence in Hebrew.
Мне вообще языка знания неизвестно. Ой-ой-ой. Эй, подожди. Еще не все.
There are finger marks, deliberately drawn in the dust. 8 in all. No, nothing of value here.
Еще. Давай.
It's too cumbersome for me to unhook here, but judging by the dust, it hasn't been moved for months, if not years.
Ой. Вот это еще не смотрел. Ничего. О, здесь 8.
But that which beareth thorns and briars is rejected, and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. Here's a message. There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's say tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him. Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul.
Вот это.
St. Paul on the road to Damascus by Caravaggio.
Так, на это мы смотрели уже?
This painting has been hanging here for a long time. A lot of dust is built up on it. Well, a finger has drawn a number in the thin layer of dust. I can read the number 4. St. Paul is the only saint to be presented twice in these paintings, contrary to the other apostles. How come?
Так, 4 плюс 6, 10. Давай посмотрим, где они. Так.
And he became very hungry and would have eaten, but while they were made ready, he fell into a trance. Hey, there's a note here. A message from Mother in reply to E. We must leave urgently, but first I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare. Watch out for Volner. He figured out I was avoiding him. Allay suspicion. See you tomorrow evening. Stand ready. For now, let's cease all communication until we meet. Take care of yourself. I suppose this must be the last message. What happened afterward? If it's what I suspect, I fear the worst. What did Mother mean by, I absolutely must go beyond the nightmare? I must go beyond the nightmare. What does she mean by that? Clearly, she must be trying to do something useful, but what? Nightmare. Does that remind me of anything? It probably has to do with an object or something. Granting that this is the case, where might it be found?
Но у меня такого не будет.
Yes, it's the painting that was behind Mortimer's study. Well, let's see if Mortimer has anything to hide behind his painting. Mortimer's getting his guests together. I ought to join them so I don't look suspicious.
Ну да, придется прийти. Мы на этом завершим. Всем спасибо за просмотр.